Ladies and gentlemen, it's a wonderful privilege to be able to meet with you today and talk to you about America and about our founding fathers. I want you to know I love America. How many here love America? Anybody love America? Isn't that fantastic? Let me give you just a moment or two background on my own involvement in this information, and then we'll get right into the study material itself. My knowledge of America was very slim in growing up. We were involved in the years when we were just trying to raise the family. I was the last of 9 children. My mom and dad were always patriotic, but to this day I have no idea how they voted. I don't know if they were Republican or Democrat. It just wasn't part of our upbringing. We were trying to survive. And then I knew that if I went to a parade and I did not stand appropriately when the flag was going by, my father would participate in calling me to repentance, because we needed to love the flag, and I knew he loved America. I knew my mother did. But I was not raised with much of a knowledge of it or an involvement in politics at all. And then I was at an opportunity to serve my country, and went for a year in Vietnam. And that's when I fell in love with America with a very, very deep passion. And that was a strange time to fall in love with America, because there were a lot of people against the war. But I was in a number of places over the Vietnam, and I was watching a lot of the politics happening. And I came home confused, madly in love with the country, but very confused. And I came back to my father-in-law, Dr. Cleon Skousen. I said, "Dad, will you please teach me about America? What's happening? What's this all about?" And he smiled and he said, "Now you'll be a better student, because now you're asking questions." But he says, "I want to talk to you about it, but I want you to make me 2 commitments." And I said, what are your commitments?" He said, "When you are studying about America, for every book you read on what's wrong in America, you will read at least 1 book on what's right in America." He said, "Too many of my friends have become involved in studying all the wrong things about America and have lost vision of its greatness. And all they can do is be pessimistic and negative and down on the country." And he said, "I don't want that to happen to my son-in-law. So if you will promise me that you will read 1 good book about America, a positive book, for every book you read with the challenges, I will lead you through the study of the country." I said, "You're on." He says, "Now for number 2. He says, "You must commit to me from now on." Now, there will be times you'll have illness, there'll be times you'll have emergencies, but you'll need to make it up some other way. You need to promise me that you'll spend a minimum of 2 hours a day studying America, current events, past events, every aspect of America. I said, 2 hours a day? I'm in graduate school. I don't have time for anything. Where am I going to get 2 hours a day? He said, the same place the founding fathers did. It might be 2 o'clock in the morning. It might be very early. It might be like Jefferson when he was jogging every morning. It might be like Franklin in the middle of the night. Well, you find the time. Because if you are not staying up with it that way, you'll become confused again on what is happening. And so I made that commitment. And I've tried to keep it. And it's been interesting what I've been able to watch happen over the last number of years. But it was the next steps of my learning that was of great benefit to me in how I would study. Because at the same time as I was coming back from Vietnam, we had a lot of protesters protesting the war. And we had a lot of campuses where we had a lot of students that were very confused. We had Kent State episodes, all kinds of things. A number of people were burning the flag because they said they loved America. Some were wearing black armbands on there and standing with clenched fist salutes. I remember one of the Olympics in one of our countries south of us, and they had a number of the athletes with black armbands on. And during this playing of the Star-Spangled Banner, when they had won their particular event, while they were putting the medal around their neck and the Star-Spangled Banner playing, they would have their hands like this in a clinched salute and head bowed during the Star-Spangled Banner. And I said, Dr. Skousen, what am I missing? How can you claim you love America and then act this way? This is so strange. How can you do it? And he taught me something that I've been trying to teach the students at our schools and programs all over the country. And that's this reality. He said, people tend to behave according to what they believe. I would want everybody to write that down. People tend to behave according to what they believe. He said, if you believed like they believe, you would be acting exactly like they're acting and doing what they're doing. Each of us are products of our education. Boy, have I watched that happening. And I've thought about that whole thing. What if I had have received most of my training about America in my developing years in countries not American? And what if I went to a particular university or studies to study my university work in law, in history, economics, etc., and I was taking the classes from professors who were very high on Marxism, socialism, and very low on constitutionalism? I would start developing within my mind and my heart an understanding, or at least what I would think was an understanding of America. And I would start reacting accordingly. And I've watched this now not only in this country, but in other countries. I've traveled extensively and get to see other countries and visit with people in other places, and this is true. You tend to behave according to what you have been taught, and hence what you believe. Even if the belief is wrong, you will still have confidence in it. Because that's the next thing I would like you to write down. We have confidence in that in which we are most familiar. We have confidence in that with which we are most familiar. See, I had a hard time understanding how anybody, and I still do, I can't grasp it, how anybody would have the feeling that they have a responsibility to their Creator, to put on explosives under their clothing and going around in a crowd and detonating, taking their own life and other people's lives because they love their Creator or they love their country, etc. I have a hard time with that type of a thing. I also have a hard time with individuals that don't have a great love for America or a confidence in the founders. But if I listen to what is being taught by a number of individuals about how immoral the founding fathers were, how degenerate they were, and as one professor tried to tell me on one of the national radio shows, he said, but the Constitution was written for a few farmers on the East Coast 200 years ago plus, and it doesn't even apply today. And so I just simply challenged him. I said, obviously, as a professor of constitutional studies, you know more about it than I do. So let me ask you a couple of questions. Please help me. Go through Article 1, Section 1 of the Constitution and show me what's obsolete, will you? Specifically, show me what's obsolete. Well, I'm not sure there's anything in there obsolete. I said, sir, how about Article 2? Help me with Article 2. Teach me, please. Show me specifically what's obsolete. How about Article 3? How about Article 4? I went all the way through all 7. I wanted to ask him about Article 8, since there's only 7. Just to see if they had read it.